welcome to the Give IE podcast. We have a couple amazing guests here today. We have Crystal, who's here with me now, and we also have Daniel that'll be coming in just a moment. And they do something that's quite incredible. So they have an organization called RevCom, and so they do a couple different things. And so you guys are going to share with us today what it is that you do. I know a lot of the times we have individual charitable organizations or community organizations that are visiting with us, but you guys are kind of the support structure, because one of the biggest things when it comes to having a great organization that does a lot of great things is the funding behind it. And so, Crystal, thank you for being here. And so if you want to share a little bit about the things that you and Daniel are doing, would be fantastic.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for having us here today. I had been in nonprofit my entire career after college, so really passionate about giving back to the community. I spent 1 year doing direct service and social services for Riverside County, and I realized my heart was too drawn to it. And I mean that because caseworkers who are on the direct service front line, they are doing some incredible work, and it is super challenging. It's emotionally draining, it's long hours, and I realized I was just too emotionally invested a little bit, because it is very hard. And so I decided, well, what can I do that's still going to be giving back to the community, but in a more of a behind the scenes kind of way. So I've always liked writing. And after that, I jumped into kind of the administrative support behind the scenes. So spent, over a decade in nonprofit. And then in 2017, we started RevCom Consulting. And so primarily my work is grant writing, a lot of program evaluation, program design.
Fantastic. And so grant writing is something that I was exposed to just very, very recently, because there is a lot of grant types of funding out there for organizations, but it can be very challenging for them to figure out where the grants are and how to put together an application. Mm-hmm. So that's the stuff that you guys help with?
Yeah, so I do everything. I like to call myself kind of an all-inclusive grant writer. I've met a lot of other grant writer consultants that are still doing great work, but they come in and they say, I just write. And because I have such great experience in program evaluation and program design, you can't be a grant writer and just write. You have to really understand the financial side of things. You have to be really connected to caseworkers. Like I said, they're on the front line, they're doing the work. You have to understand programs. It's really impossible to be a successful grant writer and just write. So I really connect with all different departments, with the clients that I work with. I tap into the caseworkers and hear directly from them. Where do we need more funding? What are our clients saying? What are the challenges in our community right now? I talk with finance and I say, hey, I need a budget that's program specific. Let's get into the details of it. So I really help with the prospecting of these funders, making sure that we vet them and that we're actually a strong fit and we're going to be competitive. I do the writing. I work with the team internally, and then I complete submission as well.
Wow. So, I mean, it must take a lot of work working with and collaborating so many different facets of the business, because it's not like you're just going to an individual or a board. You're having to kind of find out all encompass what's going on, and then how do we find funding to best fit all these different areas.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many different funding opportunities out there. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I see grant opportunities come up, or when a client tells me, hey, take a look at this grant opportunity, and they say, well, $15 to apply. At the end of the day, I always say that's a sweepstakes. It's just a contest. That's all it is. You can pour your heart into this grant application, but it's going to be luck of the draw if you're kind of paying to play, right? A really legitimate grant application is going to be just a no-cost application that you submit and you tell your story. You have to tell your story through numbers. That's a really, really big thing. I always say it's more than just the writing. It's all the other components. So, if I'm working with a potential client and we're kind of going through the discovery phase, and I say, well, how are you tracking data? Where are your testimonials? Where are your impact stories? Well, we don't track anything. We just do good work. And I kind of have to pause and say, I wish we lived in a world where we could go to funders and just say, we do really good work, give us money. But that's just not the reality, right? So then we take a pause and we say, let's get our ducks in the row first, and let's take a look at tracking. Let's take a look at how we're evaluating our programs. Are we tracking demographics? Because that's what's going to get money in the door at the end of the day.
Wow. Okay. So You may have mentioned it, but when did you guys get started, and what was the catalyst for starting this specific organization?
Yeah, so I had always thought, because I had been a nonprofit so long, I'd always thought I wanted to be a consultant one day. And the honest truth is just we grew our family. I got pregnant, and it was at that point that I decided, well, I don't want to miss a milestone. I don't want to have to, think about childcare and miss important dates in my son's life. So Diego, we have to thank for really pushing me to start this business. And so we started in 2017, the year that he was born. And for quite a while, I did the 9 to 5 and the 5 to 9. So I would do my regular job after maternity leave. I went back to overseeing programs at the Child Abuse Prevention Center in Anaheim. And then at home, I would kind of start building up the business. I did a lot of pro bono work. If anyone is interested in starting their own business, I really recommend that. You got to build your portfolio some way, somehow. And sometimes that means taking on some pro bono projects. And then about a year and a half later, I was able to be in a position with the support of Daniel to really just jump into it with 2 feet and quit my job and jump into RevCom 100%.
Nice. Kids can be a really big motivator, right?
Yes.
I mean, I know I'm a dad of two, and I know that being able to be flexible and be a part of their lives has adjusted the trajectory of my entire life as well.
Yeah.
But it's great. Look what we're doing now, right? We're finding ways to balance the life, but also give back in the ways that we want to.
Yes.
That's the whole reason for the Give IE podcast. I don't know how many more directions I can be split in to help all the great people that are doing things throughout Riverside and Inland Empire. But you know what? I can dedicate some time and give a platform so that I can share. So I'm right there with you. It's great that you guys are doing that. So you started off with some pro bono work, which is great because it also helps hone your skills and make sure that you kind of can do the best. What's kind of your guys' ideal client? I'm sure that you guys work with some larger organizations. Do you guys work with some smaller ones? I actually met Daniel at a small fashion show here in downtown Riverside for the Knox Children's Center, which is a great event. And with a founder that's just trying to do good, and she's just getting up and going. And so she's obviously not a big, very well-established charitable organization. So where do you guys find yourself working the most within the industry, I guess?
Yeah, you know what? We're kind of all over the place, especially me with my work in grant writing. And because of that, in 2024, I actually introduced a sliding scale. I think that's really important to share that we really lead in our business with our commitment to the community. So that's why we started it. It wasn't, business first, community came later. It was we led with community and then a business came out of it. So because of the sliding scale, it really allows us to be equitable in our services, to be able to support really small organizations and then really large ones. Like currently right now, the organizations I'm working with, my smallest one, I still have a pro bono client that I keep on just because I want to provide that support. They're $50,000 out of Barstow. And I was able to bring in brand new money they've never received at zero cost to them because of my support there. And then my largest client is $200 million in LA. So it's a significant gap. We usually are around the, 500,000 to like 4 million. That's kind of where I stay in a majority of my projects. But locally, I have a lot of clients here that are around 100,000, 200,000. And at the end of the day, those are sometimes the best clients because they really are getting their hands dirty. They know the community, they're putting in the work, and they're growing with you, right? So to be able to grow with an organization has been really awesome. I've been able to, one client I work with out of Corona, double their budget since I worked with them in 2019. So it's a very, and it's a significant impact, a $20,000 grant for an organization like that, than my $200 million organization, right? It's still important. It's still a great win, but the impact goes significantly further, which I really enjoy.
So you guys are based here in the Inland Empire. Do you have any organizations that you guys work with here locally in Riverside that maybe you want to give a little plug to?
Yeah. So some of my local clients that I've worked with for quite a few years actually have ABC Hopes in the city of Corona. They're a great organization that provides life skills, aerobics, fitness classes for individuals with intellectual disabilities. And they're the client that I've seen grow the most. I've gone to really help support them with some pretty significant growth since 2019, help get them into their first standalone space. So lots of just significant milestones. It's like a relationship, right? You get to go through these milestones together. One of our other clients, the Care Project, we were able to raise $40,000 last year in brand new money, and they started at $80,000 when I joined them. So to be able to significantly increase such a small budget is really powerful. And then one big shout out I have to share is our support with the Diaper Bank of the Inland Empire. And the most important milestone to me has really been their transition from being a program at a larger organization to growing so much that we actually helped them expand and form their own 501c3 last year. So that was really, every story is so different, but it's just at the end of the day, watching these organizations grow, that's what, that's the whole purpose for us.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, it must be neat kind of being there side by side, step by step with them as they're growing, because really what growth means is more people get care, support, and uplifted. I think that's really why these organizations exist, and to kind of be a catalyst to help them be able to do more outreach and support. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's really neat to ride that the waves with them, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. We've definitely seen our challenges over the years, and as the funding landscape changes, and we have to pivot. But those wins, they're just they really make that purpose, right?
Yeah. All right. So you're working with a lot of different organizations. There's a lot of different grants and opportunities out there. Can you share, there may be an organization out there listening that's trying to figure out, okay, how do I find funding? What's a good source for me? What are good grants for me? So that you can kind of help guide them a little bit.
Yeah, perfect. So first and foremost, I always share this, whether I'm doing a presentation or a meeting with my clients, is don't chase the money. I've seen, examples in the past of organizations that will what I call chase the money, right? They see a grant opportunity and say, that's a lot of money, we should go for it. We're kind of a fit, and they're forcing a puzzle piece into a puzzle it doesn't fit into. They get the funding, they get awarded, they end up spending more money than they were awarded because now they have to build this program, right? They weren't staying true to their mission. Now they have to build something. So first and foremost, don't chase the money. And at the end of the day, program data is so important. Being able to storytell with numbers is what's going to get you the grant. I always say that someone can be a mediocre writer, but have really strong data to support their cause, and that's going to bring money in the door. So those are the two most important things to consider.
That's great advice. So make sure it's a good fit for you. Otherwise, you may alter your entire mission just to find a bigger dollar, which I think for a lot of organizations, at least in the beginning and hopefully forever, their heart should always be in the right place. They should have a mission that's in mind. And there's funding out there for people that believe in your specific mission, where you don't have to change who you are or what you do or who you serve.
Yep. Exactly. Perfect.
Fantastic. I think that's important.
Yeah.
I think it's important for any business, right? Don't chase the money. Don't chase the money.
Yeah. Stay true to you.
Stay true to you.
Yeah.
If you do great work, if you do quality things, and your heart's in the right place, and you're following a passion, the money will be an excellent byproduct.
Mm-hmm.
The more
Exactly.
you chase the money, the more it just doesn't work out. You end up turning into a person that you don't want to be, or your entire business or organization does as well.
Yes.
That's really good advice for everybody.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited to bring Daniel on, and he's going to be sharing a little bit with us about the foundation. But thank you so much for coming. Wealth of knowledge for I think a lot of folks out there, whether they have an existing organization or have a heart for it and want to get something started. Don't chase the money. There's funding out there to help. And you know what? If you're on a consulting side, you may have to work for free a little bit to build yourself up.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing all that.
Of
Honestly,
course.
I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. So now we have Daniel that's going to be talking a little bit about the foundation side of RevCom.
Yeah.
So so tell us all about it.
Awesome. So as Crystal mentioned, we started the RevCom Consulting in 2017. I was primarily doing for-profit work. I worked for about 10 to 12 years in the mortgage industry. Did a lot of marketing and IT there, where I was doing graphic design, helping with IT system stuff, database management, things like that. And slowly through working with clients, Crystal noticed that was a need for nonprofit organizations as well. So I came over, and in 2020 is when I finally left the full-time mortgage industry and came to work for RevCom Consulting. And that first year, it was a learning experience for me, right? Learning how to kind of refigure marketing for nonprofit organizations. That road was a lot different than just taking a picture of an object, taking a picture of a house, selling a rate, selling a percentage or something like that, right? For nonprofit organizations, it's a lot about storytelling, about the impact you make in the community, stories about your founders, stories about the clients that you serve, and things like that. So kind of restructuring the way I did marketing or story told for these organizations was a big learning experience. And one of the other learning experiences was that small nonprofit organizations were often overlooked for resources, for grant funding, for simply just on the roadmap, right? In the marketing aspect, a big portion of it is just getting your name out, right? Being recognizable. And for small organizations, that is difficult sometimes. So we had the idea of starting RevCom Foundation. RevCom Foundation is an organization, a nonprofit foundation, specifically made to support small nonprofit organizations. What we would like to do is service, right now we're focusing on Southern California, but service small nonprofit organizations that are often overlooked, right? So organizations that are less than 10 years in business, less than $500,000 in an operational budget, and basically just located here. So we do different resources that we provide in pro bono consulting. As Crystal mentioned before, we did, when starting the consulting company, we did do a lot of pro bono work, kind of just to build the portfolios, kind of get our name out there. And it did work because a lot of our clientele is word of mouth. As much as we'd like to market on Instagram, market on Facebook, put out, our little ads and our promotional things, our work and our relationships have spoken for themselves. People have returned as clients. People have suggested us to their friends, to bigger organizations, and we've grown as such, right? So we wanted to kind of use that platform to help smaller nonprofit organizations. Our bread and butter, or our one big event, we've had it 3 years now. We call it Grand Tank. It takes place in the spring, and it is kind of a spin-off on the Shark Tank show, right? So we invite nonprofit organizations to come and basically pitch their mission.
Yeah.
So we select through applications, we select 4 nonprofits. And that would just happen to be the lucky number of timeline-wise to come pitch. And sometimes, we do have to, it is tough to choose, right? We get a bunch of applications and we'd love to pick them all and fund them all, but we can't do that, right?
Yeah.
But we invite 4 organizations to come out and pitch, and then we have sharks that will fund the day of, right? So they're listening to the pitches. They give them about 5 minutes to kind of pitch. They do question and answer type thing. And then at the end of the day, we basically have all the sharks pool their money, and then we set out grant money for each of the organizations. But yeah.
What a cool idea.
Yeah.
So when was the first Grand Tank?
So the very first Grand Tank would have been 3 years ago. So that would have been, 2023, spring of 23. And then this past April of 25 was our 3rd annual now.
Whose idea was it?
So it was actually a board member. It wasn't our idea, yeah. So it was actually a board member who we were having I think it was our first board retreat, right? So there was an all-day board meeting, and shout out to Zach Bartel over out in Orange County at SoCal Fitness. It was his idea to say, has this ever been done before? And we're like, you know what? It hasn't. I don't think it's been done. And we tried to figure out how we could make it work. And the first one was tough. It was pulling teeth because as a small nonprofit ourselves, our name is not recognizable. And we'll give the stories of it was pulling teeth in the fact that we couldn't get applications. Mm-hmm. We couldn't give away money, right? Which is so crazy. And we even had each of the board members kind of do a search, right? Search for small nonprofit organizations in SoCal. Each of us will pick 2, right? So at the time, the board was only 5 people. So we had 10 organizations. And we found out who the CEO or president was, and everybody sent out their emails. It was probably a week before we wanted to close applications, and we didn't have enough applications. So I was cold calling these organizations and being like, hey, we sent you an email. We want to know, are you willing to put in an application? Is this something that you still fall under the guidelines for? And two of the organizations told me up front that it sounded like a scam and that we didn't sound real and they didn't want to apply.
Right.
So, through talking to them, reassured them that yes, we are a small nonprofit as well, and we'd love to grant money out to them if they want to apply and possibly participate in Grant Tank, which was tough. But that organization that was able to actually say that they thought it was a scam, they were the winners for that year. They were probably the highest dollar value winner because each of them will walk away with some sort of money from the Sharks. But there's also the aspect of the popular vote. So we sell the tickets to attend to the public, but half of your ticket actually goes into a bucket, like a pool. And then you get to vote throughout the night. And then the popular vote gets to walk away with that pool of money.
Wow.
Yeah, so there is that aspect of Grant Tank. So I think they walked away with that first year about $10,000. Yeah,
Nice.
For a small nonprofit organization, which everyone is always super excited about, right? Because they think this is not going to work out. From someone who thought it was a scam to walk away with like 10 grand, that's an awesome story for them.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So you guys have been doing it a few years now. What do you guys usually hold this?
So we made a relationship with the brewery out in Placentia. Again, shout out to Brett out there, who's always been super welcoming to us. He was a new GM when we started it. And we were the first event he was actually able to put on in their little outdoor space. So he kind of roped it off for us, hooked us up with beers at a discount because the brewery has great beers. And then this past year, they actually opened up an indoor venue where they converted one of their barrel rooms into like a venue space.
Wow.
So the new one was very cool, super fun. The aesthetics of it was super great because you were in a cool closed off building, but it was also just lined with really cool oak barrels. And I think it just made for a really cool aesthetic and vibe for the event.
Oh, man, how neat is that? So, you're obviously working with kind of two sides of the coin here. You're seeking folks that are looking to donate and fund great projects, great organizations, and you're also working with the organizations themselves. So for an organization that does want to get involved with RevCom on the foundation side, how would they do that?
Yeah, so for small nonprofit organizations, if you do meet the requirements, you are less than 10 years in business, you are under $500,000 in operational budget, and are located here in SoCal. We do have application windows that open up in the fall, and we kind of take in those applications and then we review them and then announce who will be selected for Grant Tank. So if you want to follow us on, say, like Instagram, we always put out the information of when everything's opening, or just check our website at RevComFoundation.org. All the information's there on when windows will open.
You wanna spell that out for everybody so that they know?
So it is RevComm and then foundation.org. And for the consulting, it's RevComm consulting.com.
So I just wanted to put that out there because it is two M's, not like the .com, but com as in communication. Or community.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So RevCom is just a shortened version of our tagline, which is revolutionizing communities through the power of philanthropy.
No, I love it. That's a good one. And then let's say for the folks that are out there that may want to either grant funds or participate, how would they get involved? Same way?
Yeah, so same way. As far as if you want to participate as a shark or a sponsor, you can reach out to us at any time of the year. We can always hold your funds until the event, or you can just cut a check the day of. We are happy with either one. We do have a pool of sharks, so we have a whole shark who would get to sit on the panel and actually ask questions. We do require that those are at least able to give a minimum of $5,000. If you want to give anything less than that, you would be considered a mini shark, which means you can still provide your funds out to it. There just isn't enough space for those to be on the actual panel of questioning. Yeah.
I like the fact that you call them mini sharks and not like minnows or something like that. So it still gives them a little bit of clout.
Exactly.
Like, you're a mini shark. Fantastic. Well, so if you want to give a lot, you want to give a little, you want to be a big shark, obviously reach on out. You guys are doing a lot of good. You guys are doing outreach to a lot of great organizations, and I haven't come across an organization like yours. I'm sure that there's some out there that are just passionate about finding funding for these organizations, and then you're out there also doing the grants and things like that, which is neat. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with everybody, either about the foundation or the organization before we wrap?
Yeah. So, a term that we like to be. I'm not sure if we coined it or if I remember where we started it, but
we take ownership. That's fine.
Yeah. So, we like the term mission agnostic, where we don't have any pigeonholing of any organization. Whatever it is you do, we would love to hear your story. We would love to see an application come through. There is nothing that we will kind of push out, right? Unless you are, if you're a $14 million organization, this money is not for you, right? Other than those things, we are what we like to call mission agnostic, where we will allow all different organizations. We've had, going back to our very first grant, this was before Shark Tank even started, was an organization called Kingdom Way Center. And Kingdom Way Center, what they did was provide birthday parties for youth that maybe could not have them, right? And they would have a public birthday party at a public park, invite all the kids that maybe had a birthday in June, July, whatever the month may have been for hosting, and they would kind of gather up, kind of generic toys and gifts and things like that. So anybody can celebrate their birthday. Who, as a kid, who doesn't want to celebrate their birthday? And we've had organizations that support cancer patients, organizations. We had one that had, we thought it was just a super clever name that were You're Just My Type, who provided supportive services and support groups for people with type 1 diabetes. So any mission under the sun, we'd love to hear about it. We'd love to support it if you do make it into Grand Tank and the sharks like you. So that's one thing we'd like to share about the work that we do, is anyone can and should apply.
All right. I love it. Well, I appreciate you, Daniel, and Crystal for coming and joining us here. We're definitely going to have you back on. And, for you folks out there, if you have an organization or you want to find a way to become a big or little shark, we'll leave the contact information below somewhere so that they can get a hold of you guys. You guys are based here in the Inland Empire, so it's fantastic.
So we're headquarters out of Riverside.
There we go. That's the way we like to do it. So, feel free to reach out. They are local. They love to support all different missions, and so I appreciate the work that you guys do, and I appreciate you coming and joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right, so we heard a little bit about Grand Tank, which sounds awesome, but you guys actually do more stuff year round. And
Yes.
So, if you could share some of that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so actually through Grant Tank, what all of our Grant Tank recipients, so they are provided a year of pro bono consulting. So it's been really interesting because when we have our meetings to go ahead and give the check over after Grant Tank, and we have a strategy meeting to see, hey, what else can we help you with? And a lot of times the feedback is really, we wanted this more than anything. So that's really important. The dream in the long term, if we can get funding ourselves for this, is we really want to build a pro bono consulting network where we can tap on, other business owners in the community to say, well, what's your skill set? Can you come in and do a 6-week project with someone who needs marketing, with someone who needs podcast support, something like that. So that's really what, right now we're doing it in a very small level, but the goal is to do it year round at a very, larger scale where we bring community members. So if anyone out there is interested in supporting nonprofits through consulting and has that time to volunteer, it's a great opportunity for individuals that are, in corporate work. It's a great opportunity for individuals interested in getting into consulting, because again, this is that real world experience, and you get to do really good work, and you get to figure out how it is to be a consultant also. So that's one project that we also do throughout the year. And then we also offer fiscal sponsorship. So that's basically when there's a community project that isn't a 501c3 organization, but they're growing, they're expanding, they're interested in starting to solicit donations, get grants in the door, but they're not sure if they want to go the process of getting a full 501c3. And it's an administrative burden, right? There's a lot that goes into it. So we step in and we offer fiscal sponsorship, which basically means they get to borrow our 501c3. We make sure that their mission is in alignment with, our guidelines, our mission as well, and what we want to do to the community and provide out to the community. And we basically support them from the administrative and the financial management side of things. So they're able to continue operating as they do, continue operating their programs, continuing, doing good for the community. And then they're able to now solicit funding with a tax deductible contribution. So that is really powerful for community organizations that are expanding, but not quite ready to stand alone as a 501c3.
Wow. That's neat that you're able to support folks like that, because it does take a lot of work to become a 501c3.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I had to think about that for a little bit. But yeah, it does take a lot of work. There's a lot of filing, and it's not something that can happen right away. And additionally, you are also taking on the responsibility of all the taxes and the Secretary of State stuff and all that. And it can be tough for a fledgling organization. So it's kind of cool. You're kind of bringing them under your wing and kind of help them as they're getting on their feet.
Yeah, and the whole goal too is to help them fly, right? So it's still going to be a lot of that pro bono consulting too. We're not just going to be their fiscal sponsor. We're going to truly be their partner in the work that they're doing. They're going to continue services. We're not going to come in and disrupt the rhythm and the flow. But if they want to talk strategy, we're always going to be there to support them. So that has been really great. A lot of the projects that we've worked with over the past couple of years have been, small, mighty, innovative. And then, some of them have grown and said, hey, we're ready to file and be a standalone organization. So when that happens, it's a win in our book.
I love it. And same kind of way that you do it. I mean, as long as they're doing good, you're kind of what was it, mission agnostic?
Agnostic,
okay. Yeah. So and so they shouldn't necessarily be afraid of like, oh, I don't know if they're gonna want to be a part of my vision and this and that. They need to just come talk to you.
Yes. Yeah. As long as of course there's any negative ideologies, then of course we don't want to be a part of that. But at the end of the day, we want to support youth programs, domestic violence organizations. We want to support different STEM programs. So anything that is really providing a positive impact in the community, we want to partner with you.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you sharing some of the other programs and projects that you guys have going on year round. You guys are so multifaceted, but your mission is actually very centered in wanting to uplift and support all the great organizations that are out there. So thank you for the work that you guys are doing.
Awesome. Thank you.